Alright, let's dive into the fascinating origins and cultural significance of baklava. This delectable dessert has a rich history, with its development spanning across ancient civilizations and playing a significant role in Middle Eastern and Mediterranean culinary traditions. The exact origin of baklava is a topic of debate among food historians, but it's widely believed that it dates back to the Assyrian Empire around the 8th century BC. The early version of this dessert involved layers of dough, nuts, and honey, quite similar to the baklava that we enjoy today. As baklava made its way through different empires and regions, it was influenced and adapted by various cultures. The ancient Greeks contributed to the development of baklava by creating a technique for making thin sheets of dough called phyllo. The word phyllo itself is derived from the Greek word for leaf, highlighting its thin and delicate nature. During the Ottoman Empire, baklava gained even more prominence, becoming a staple dessert served during celebrations and special occasions. It was during this time that the dessert spread across the Middle East, the Balkans, and the Mediterranean, each region adding their unique twist to the classic recipe. Today, baklava holds great cultural significance in many countries, often associated with hospitality and special occasions. In Turkey, for example, baklava is traditionally served at weddings and during the holy month of Ramadan. In Greece, it's often enjoyed during Easter celebrations, while in Lebanon and other Middle Eastern countries, it's a customary dessert for family gatherings and festive events. So, as you can see, baklava has a fascinating history that has traversed through ancient civilizations, becoming an integral part of Middle Eastern and Mediterranean culinary traditions. Its delicious layers of sweetness continue to delight people across the globe, making it a truly timeless dessert. Now that we've explored the history and cultural significance of baklava, let's move on to the art of creating those delicate layers of phyllo pastry. You might be surprised to learn that you can make phyllo dough from scratch, or you can work with pre-made sheets for a successful baklava. We'll discuss both options so you can decide which one works best for you. If you're feeling adventurous, making phyllo dough from scratch is a rewarding experience. To start, you'll need a simple mixture of flour, water, salt, and a bit of oil. The key to achieving that thin and delicate texture is patience and practice. After kneading the dough, we'll need to let it rest for a while, which allows the gluten to relax. Then it's time to roll it out as thinly as possible, using a well-floured surface and a rolling pin. Some experienced bakers even use a long, thin rod called a dowel to achieve an even thinner result. Remember, the thinner the dough, the more delicate and crisp your baklava will be. However, if you're short on time or prefer a more convenient option, using pre-made phyllo sheets is a fantastic alternative. You can find these sheets in the frozen section of most grocery stores. Just make sure to thaw them according to the package instructions before using them in your baklava. When working with pre-made phyllo, it's essential to keep the sheets covered with a damp cloth to prevent them from drying out and becoming brittle. Whichever method you choose, creating those delicate layers of phyllo pastry is a crucial step in making baklava. Whether you decide to make the dough from scratch or use pre-made sheets, the result will be a delicious, flaky dessert that's sure to impress. So go ahead, give it a try, and enjoy the process of mastering the art of phyllo pastry for baklava. Let's now delve into the various nut mixtures and fillings used in baklava. This is where the magic of regional differences and personal preferences really come into play, allowing you to experiment with unique flavor combinations that make your baklava truly special. Traditionally, baklava is made with a mixture of nuts, such as walnuts, pistachios, and hazelnuts. However, the specific nut combination can vary depending on the region or personal preference. In Turkey, for example, you'll often find baklava made with pistachios, while in Greece, walnuts are more commonly used. Some recipes even call for a mixture of different nuts, giving you the best of both worlds. So feel free to get creative and use your favorite nuts or experiment with new combinations. To enhance the flavors of the nuts, many baklava recipes call for the addition of spices, such as cinnamon, cloves, or cardamom. These spices not only add depth to the nut mixture, but also help to balance the overall sweetness of the dessert. Again, you can customize the spices according to your taste preferences or regional influences. When it comes to fillings, baklava is quite versatile, and you can even venture beyond the traditional nut mixtures. You might try incorporating dried fruits, such as raisins or chopped dates, to add a different texture and flavor to your baklava. Alternatively, you can experiment with modern twists, like adding chocolate chips or a layer of sweetened cream cheese to create a unique and indulgent treat. In essence, the world of baklava nut mixtures and fillings is vast and full of possibilities. By understanding regional differences and preferences, you can tailor your baklava to suit your tastes or even create a new fusion of flavors. So, go ahead. Have fun experimenting with different nut mixtures, spices, and fillings. Make your baklava truly one of a kind. Now that we've covered the origins, Filo pastry, and fillings of baklava, it's time to master the process of assembling and baking this delicious dessert. We'll go through the ideal layering, cutting, and baking techniques that'll help you achieve a perfectly crisp and golden pastry. The first step in assembling baklava is to prepare your baking dish. It's essential to choose a dish that's the right size for your Filo sheets, or you may need to trim them to fit. Don't forget to generously butter the bottom and sides of the dish to prevent sticking. Next comes the layering process. Start by placing a sheet of Filo at the bottom of the dish, and then brush it with melted butter. Continue layering and buttering the Filo sheets until you have a base of about 4 to 8 layers, depending on your preference. This base will provide a sturdy foundation for your baklava. Now it's time to add the nut mixture. Spread an even layer of the filling over the Filo base, and then add another layer of buttered Filo on top. You can repeat this process to create multiple layers of nuts and pastry, or simply add one layer of filling, depending on your desired thickness. Once you've added the final layer of nuts, finish the baklava with another 4 to 8 layers of buttered Filo on top. This will ensure that your pastry is well encased and ready for cutting. Before baking, use a sharp knife to carefully cut the baklava into your desired shape, such as squares or diamonds. Cutting the baklava before baking ensures that the layers stay intact and makes it easier to serve once it's ready. Now it's time to bake your baklava. Preheat your oven to around 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake the baklava for approximately 45 to 60 minutes or until it's golden and crisp. Keep an eye on it, as ovens can vary, and you don't want to overcook your masterpiece. By following these layering, cutting, and baking techniques, you'll be well on your way to mastering the art of baklava assembly. With practice, you'll achieve that perfectly crisp and golden pastry that'll leave everyone asking for seconds. As we reach the final step in our baklava journey, let's learn the art of preparing syrup or honey glazes to complete this indulgent dessert. This is a crucial element in baklava, as it provides the perfect balance of sweetness and flavor to complement the pastry, ensuring a satisfying finish to each bite. A classic baklava syrup is typically made with sugar, water, and a touch of lemon juice. The lemon juice helps to balance the sweetness and prevent the sugar from crystallizing. To make the syrup, simply combine the ingredients in a saucepan and bring them to a boil. Then, reduce the heat and let it simmer for about 10 minutes or until it reaches a slightly thick consistency. Some recipes also call for the addition of spices like cinnamon or cloves to enhance the flavor profile of the syrup. If you prefer a more natural sweetener, a honey glaze is a fantastic alternative. To make a honey glaze, combine honey, water, and lemon juice in a saucepan, following the same process as the sugar syrup. You can also add a splash of orange blossom or rose water to the honey glaze for a touch of floral fragrance, which is quite common in Middle Eastern baklava recipes. Once your baklava is baked and golden, it's time to pour the syrup or glaze over the pastry. It's crucial to do this while the baklava is still hot from the oven, as this allows the layers of filo to absorb the liquid properly, resulting in a perfectly moist and flavorful dessert. When pouring the syrup or glaze, make sure to cover the entire surface of the baklava, allowing it to seep into the cut portions. Let the baklava sit and absorb the syrup for a few hours, or even overnight, to achieve the best texture and flavor. By mastering the art of preparing syrup or honey glazes, you'll be able to create a baklava that strikes the perfect balance of sweetness and flavor. This final touch not only completes your dessert, but also ensures an indulgent, satisfying experience that will leave everyone craving more.